pay-per-views, breaking all the news. Scandals revealed, deals sealed, who'll be healed? Trash talkers, night stalkers, ring walkers. Next big match, can't scratch this batch. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Big moves, pay-per-views, breaking all the news. Scandals revealed, deals sealed, who'll be healed? Trash talkers, night stalkers, ring walkers. Next big match, can't scratch this batch. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ango Show. Today is January 15th, 2025. My name is Ango, and of course, I'm joined by Billy TKO, but I want to kick things off on today's show with an apology. Yesterday, we were live, a very passionate person that I am about my craft. And yesterday, I made some comments about AEW, and I made some comments about the company and the things that I don't like about the company. And I just want to absolutely apologize for absolutely fucking nothing. This is the Ango Show, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get the most authentic and organic takes that you've seen on this platform. And I want you guys to know that when you spend your time here watching the Ango Show live, you are going to hear authenticity. And I'm not playing around. This is no bullshit. I will always cut through with the opinions that I truly believe in. That's how it's been since day one. That's how it's going to be tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Billy TKO, it is time for the Ango Show, my boy.
Let's do it, sir. Let's do it.
All right, guys, if you want to support the show, very easy. Go ahead and click that like button. Drop that like. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We are live Monday through Friday. This is the type of show that you guys are not going to want to miss. We're going to talk a little bit about NXT. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the world of wrestling. We got something really huge in the works with TNA and WWE. I want to talk about that. We got to dive into the Corey Graves situation because Corey Graves was not on NXT last night. And we got to talk about Ray Phoenix because now it looks like AEW is fucking around with my boy Ray Phoenix, and I don't like it. I don't like it, Billy.
Ango, I'm not a fan either, pal.
I don't like it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do some shout outs. Todd Crow, Laws, Justin Kennington. Justin Kennington is in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it a round of applause for Justin Kennington. He's back.
My man.
He's been showing up lately. Kevin Schiffman, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kevin Schiffman. Shout out to our members here on the channel. If you guys aren't a member, you could become a member on the channel. Also, don't forget super chats. We do have a super chat goal of 5 super chats. We're live on my channel. We're live on Billy's channel. Your super chats guarantee that your questions and comments get read. Members always get higher priority. And as always, we're going to be engaging with the chat. I need you guys to go off. Listen, I think I really just want to start off before we talk about NXT, because NXT was good. NXT has its problems. I'm going to fucking go off on NXT in a little bit. But my passion for professional wrestling really is there. I'm super passionate, Billy. What I'm not excited about, though, is that this company, AEW, took out a revenue stream for Rey Fenix, and we don't know if he's gone from the company. We don't know what the hell is happening, but it looks like AEW is screwing around, and I want to talk about that. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I did make it in my video today. Obviously, I wanted more time to elaborate, which is why it's on the stream. But AEW has removed Rey Fenix's merch from AEW shop. There's no Lucha Bros merch, which I understand. Lucha Bros not having merch on there, it makes sense.
Right.
But there's no Rey Fenix merch. And so therefore, this guy can't wrestle on TV. They're not putting him on TV. They're not booking him. And now we're in a situation where we have Rey Fenix being removed from AEW shop. What's your reaction to that, Billy?
I hate it. I'm just going to go on and say it. I hate it. Tony Khan, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Number one, it's one thing to just not have a dude show up on your show, not have him wrestle. Contract, you maybe don't like the guy, whatever. But we're going to be as petty as taking his merchandise and just act as if he doesn't exist. And I'm not a fan of somebody playing pretend. We obviously know the situation with Rey Fenix, and we know everything that has taken place. We understand the background and stuff like that. If you don't like this guy, just say it. And if you want to go even further than that, just let him go. If you're going to stop all this, don't be petty about it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you hate these people, just let them go. Just let them go. If you feel that they have given too much to the competition and God forbid they were excited about their friends, because we all know for a fact that the only reason that Rey Fenix is having this happen to him is because Penta had a good look on WWE and he supported his friend. No other reason. You can't change my mind. Angle, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. I mean, listen, the Rey Fenix situation is interesting because I look at Ricky Starks, for example, as another example of somebody who, Rey Fenix isn't on AEW TV. Ricky Starks isn't on AEW TV. Ricky Starks can't work GCW, but then Chris Jericho could show up in GCW. I think this is like one of those things where Tony Khan has its favorites, and listen, you're gonna go to the opposite, you're gonna go to the dark side, you're gonna go to the opposition. We're gonna fuck with you a little bit. Listen, Tony Khan is in the toughest position in the world. Like, I know, honest to God, like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you make Rey Fenix released, and if you release Ricky Starks and you release everybody, then all I'm gonna do backstage, if I'm not happy there, is just do the same thing. I'm gonna be disgruntled. I'm gonna start these rumors of going to WWE. I'm gonna do whatever I can to get out of the company. It's hard. Tony Khan is in a very difficult position. I'm not stupid. I understand that.
Now here's the thing. Though. It doesn't have to be difficult. Tony made it difficult himself.
Okay.
You could have just laid the law down from the beginning instead of giving people false hope. Because that was the whole thing. People wanted to come work for Tony in the beginning.
So this is the thing, right? Like, I don't understand, like, where this whole situation is with... Okay, like, guys, I'm going to be real. This is where I have a difficult, like, part of understanding how Tony Khan conducts business. You are in a situation where you're losing this perception war. You're obviously not the popular product. You obviously don't have momentum. You're struggling to sell 2,000 tickets to a show. You are in a position where you're kind of losing everything. yes, you're still profitable, and yes, you're doing all of these cool things, and you got this TV deal, and that's awesome. But from a perception standpoint, which I think perception sometimes matters more because your reputation really does matter.
Is reality.
Yeah,
Perception is reality.
I think when you look at it from that perspective, I think Tony Khan just keeps making his company look dumber and dumber and dumber because we're literally in a situation where now, like, hey, like, you're not going to let Ray Phoenix go, but then you're going to remove his merch. For some reason, I have a very strong feeling that Ray Phoenix is released and it's very quiet. And that's part of the release is, hey, you are not allowed to speak on this until you show up in WWE.
I agree.
Also, I think that would be a foolish decision because then it's like, I mean, again, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But
this is a fact.
But Ray Phoenix showing up in WWE ultimately would be like, well, how the fuck did you guys pull off that surprise? Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like if I was Tony Khan, I would at least want to spoil that. But
for sure.
It's just such a weird thing, man, to take away his revenue stream. And, you know, Tony Khan is doing this stuff where, bro, if I'm keeping it 100, like, if I'm unhappy in AEW,
mm-hmm.
what do I do? Like, I don't know. Do I just go beat Jack Perry?
But Ango, yeah. I mean, at that point, yeah, just go beat him up. Just go punch him in the face.
It's crazy, bro.
If you want out of AEW, it's that simple. Just go punch Jack Perry. He'll let you go. He loves Jack Perry. Just saying.
Sad. The reality, guys, is it's sad because Ray Phoenix is a hell of a talent, and I get it. Like, I truly understand both sides of the coin here. I think that's one of the things that really like bothers me, actually.
Oh, you understand both sides? You understand both sides?
I do.
You hate Tony Khan. That's what you hate AEW. That's what everybody said.
No, I hate their TV product. Yeah, for sure. I think their TV product is ass, but I think, you know, I have a lot of respect and I want AEW to survive. I want AEW to be thriving. I want, you know, that's what I want. I mean, I want it. I'm a selfish bastard. I've said this before. It makes no sense for me. Let's forget about personal morals and people like, okay, for example, people in AEW, if AEW goes away, there's a lot of people in AEW who lose a job. First and foremost, I can never advocate for that. There's no piece of shit on the internet that could try to say otherwise. I would never advocate for people to lose their jobs. I would never advocate because there's families that are impacted by that, right? Me hating AEW's TV product is not going to close their business down, right? But if anything, what I really, really want to say is that I think AEW's TV product is shit. I don't think they're improving. I don't think they're listening to the fans. I think some of their business decisions are wacky. But at the same time, too, I'm going to speak up because I want them to be better. I want them to do better. And this is a no-win situation for AEW. So now you got to figure out how to take the worst kind of blow and make it a little bit easier on yourself. And I think that's a very difficult task to do. And that is largely due to the fact that realistically, it is a no-win situation. I'm not telling you guys anything that's like super hyperbole or whatever. Like this is a matter of, hey, you guys aren't delivering a good product. And by the way, you have people that are disgruntled and you're keeping them there. And, you know, all it's really doing is making you look bad. And when you already look bad because you're not selling tickets and you don't have the greatest viewership and you're not already the most exciting product and you lost your momentum, you're already a cold product. All you're doing is making yourself colder. Like, I can't imagine. Listen, I know there's people. Matt Cardona was a good example. He was talking on the Ariel Helwani show. He has a lot of respect for Tony Khan and AEW, which is very fair.
Sure.
Very fair.
Yeah.
He wants to be on TV and he doesn't mind wanting to be with AEW. So why not bring in the people that want to come in and work with those people?
That's the problem. That's the problem, Mango, is that Tony is just kind of grabbing whoever he can. But there are genuinely people that want to enjoy and be a part of this man's show. Look, take Jon Moxley for an example. Jon Moxley is somebody that is really just died by the sword with AEW. Yeah. That's somebody who, yeah, you made him your champion. That's right. Things like that. Is the storyline working? People would disagree. Here's the thing, though. We understand why Jon Moxley's there, right? We understand that Jon Moxley loves AEW. Jack Perry. We understand why Jack Perry's in AEW. Same with Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia has made it very clear he loves AEW. Why aren't we putting the front foot forward on these guys, right? Instead, we're going back. We're using somebody not to take away from Edge or Cope or whatever we want to call him. Not to take away from him. He's obviously great, and we understand his past history. Why does that guy get TV time? Why is that guy why is he fighting for a championship right now? I'm being so serious. I mean this wholeheartedly. I do not understand it. And it just makes zero sense to me. Ango, if you could explain that to me, please feel free.
I can't answer that.
Can't answer it?
I will never be a hater against Edge. I mean,
I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. And that's where people are going to misinterpret it.
I think anything is better than what they're doing right now with the Death Rider storyline. So the faster they give up that belt, which tonight on Dynamite, maybe Powerhouse Hobbs shocks the world. I don't foresee that happening, unfortunately, which is like really shitty because I feel like if they did, like it would be a good reset. But the problem is, it's just we've gotten to a point where. And it circles back to the Rey Fenix thing, right? Like, if Adam Copeland wants to retire in AEW and he wants to be happy in AEW and he's going to get that send off, like, that's great. But if AEW's focal point is these older guys, which I think we can make an argument that, you know, Billy Gunn and Sting and some of these older guys have been treated very, very, very well in AEW, which is great. But at the same time, too, you have a Death Rider storyline where it's an invasion angle, and it's the second one you're doing back to back, and they're both failing. And then
I was about to say, because both of these are just, oh my God, it makes my head hurt. Oh, the invasion storyline's obviously not working. It's obviously not getting you anywhere. You're obviously getting berated online by a bunch of people who do not like what's happening. And yeah, you could say, oh, well, my diehards, they love me. Is that, are we going to focus on the diehards forever? Because at that point, Tony, just give up, bro. Just give up.
What are these diehards doing for them right now?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing, Angle. That's the problem.
I feel like they're getting to the point where they're losing the diehards.
Exactly. Because the diehards, like maybe you or I, are noticing, hey, this shit ain't working.
Billy.
It's not.
The day Cody Rhodes left, we had a stream.
Yep.
And I said, what did I tell you? I said, catering to that hardcore audience will one day cost them. Right or wrong?
Right, correct.
How many times did I beat it into your head? Sometimes the worst thing you could do is going for the hardcore audience because eventually the hardcore audience will turn on you.
And then guess what happened?
I'm looking at a lot of those sicko Twitter accounts turning on AEW already.
Because it's crazy to even look back at like streams that we did before and just seeing a lot of familiar faces who were very excited about AEW at one time and now are in the chat today. They're singing a different tune, and myself included.
It's just, you know, it's I wish I could say that I was wrong. I wasn't wrong. I've been absolutely right 100% of the time. I'm going to pat myself on the back here. I mean, that is the truth. I have been very right about the situation. And it's led us to this moment here where Rey Fenix is now having his merch removed. Ricky Starks is not on TV.
It's not like the merch was good anyways.
I don't know. Lucha Bros kind of had some fire merch. I ain't gonna lie.
AEW merch sucks.
I think to be honest with you, I think that's a big miss in all of professional wrestling.
I don't know, that Penta merch was fire.
You're naming one wrestler out of fucking 7,000.
Okay. I hear you.
Wrestling merch sucks. Like I'm being honest, wrestling merch sucks. I don't think WWE has great merchandise. I don't think TNA has great merchandise. I don't think AEW has great merchandise. You know what wrestling merch I want? The type of shit that I could go rock anywhere that I go. Like for example, shout out to Ring of Fire. Like they produce some really dope shit. And I wear some of their dope shit. People see me wearing some of their dope shit, but I could wear that anywhere because it's like streetwear infused. But at the end of the day, I don't think AEW creates good merch. I don't think WWE really creates good merch. I think for every one banger of a merch that you see, there's like 30 failures on the shop website. But my point that I'm making is that AEW is they've removed his merch. They're not booking him on TV. They're taking away a revenue stream. Tony Khan looks like the bad guy. And the reality is, if I was a talent and I was looking at this and I wanted to leave AEW, honestly, I don't know what the fuck I would do, because I understand. I used to say this with Vince McMahon too. It's like you're screwed because business wise, they don't owe it to you, right? They don't owe it to you.
Absolutely
But
not.
at the same time, too, is it really worth looking that bad for keeping a talent who doesn't want to be there? And we're not just talking Ray Phoenix at this point. We know there's a list of other
Ricky
people.
Starks. There's Wardlow. Like, there's numerous names that just aren't being spoke about in the spotlight right now.
And it's like, man, if some of these people are not happy there, just let them go and let them spread their wings. And you know, it's tough. I think a lot of this makes it tougher too. This part doesn't really get I don't think people talk about this enough for sure. But I think the William Regal situation really changed Tony Khan.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So that is something to obviously factor in for sure.
Right. Yeah, that was actually a horrible situation. I remember that.
William Regal fucking finessed AEW, bro.
Man, and just walked out. Pretty much. I know he got let go or whatever, or the contract expired, whatever. But
No,
pretty
they
much
let
just
him go.
walked out.
They let him.
Yeah. Okay, so they did let him go. I knew I wasn't crazy.
Yeah,
for
Tony
that.
Khan. They share the story. Tony Khan was at the hospital with his mother, and yeah, like William Regal called him and said, "Hey, like my son's in NXT. I want to do this," and that was like right after Triple H came back. And
Oh yeah. I remember that.
crazy. I think that changed everything though, and I get it. Like I said, I understand for Tony Khan's situation, it is difficult for sure. But
Dude, it's tough being a boss.
Dude, it's tough.
It's just natural. Yeah,
It's tough. It's fucking tough. But you know, here's the thing, man. Like we live in a world where I think this is my opinion. I don't give a fuck about these corporations, dog. Like I would build my culture and my company for the people that want to be there, and that's it. Like if you don't want to be here, I'm not gonna. That's me. I'm just saying, like, I know what it's like. I've had people that I've hired and worked with. They just don't want to work. They're lazy. They don't care to work. They don't want to be there. They want to go make more money. They want to go do this. They want to do that. Like, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I let people go, and the reason why is because I don't want you to hurt my culture, and I don't want you to hurt what we're building. I think AEW will never ever truly die, but I think your culture is going to be directly impacted. Look at Ethan Page. He was on Busted Open After Dark, and he's talking to Bully Ray, and like AEW didn't see what WWE saw in him, and like that should never come out of a talent's mouth. Like if you're a company, you should
be looking for the best in everybody.
Yes. And the thing is, I think that's where Tony Khan and AEW have genuinely fucked up
because
a little bit.
because he's not from the wrestling business. He doesn't know what a talent could possibly possess. I think that's the one misinterpretation about Tony Khan that people often mistake. Tony Khan, yes, is maybe because here's the thing, right? We understand that Tony Khan, if you look at it on the surface, he actually seems like a pretty good guy, right? Like he seems like a nice guy, the way he speaks, whatever. Problem is Tony Khan isn't from a wrestling business. And yeah, you could have a bunch of wrestlers behind you, and you could have them all berating behind you and trying to get you to think this way, that way, and the other, right? That doesn't always work. The reason why Triple H works is because Triple H, number one, was whether people, no matter what you think, Triple H had a group of people that he surrounded himself with that understood the wrestling business, right? And he picked up on that. And that's why it works with Triple H versus Tony Khan. Tony Khan just has no recollection of how to even go about finding the good in talent. He's just what Tony Khan is doing is he's buying something and expecting it to come in and work right away. He's not investing. That's what I'll say about it.
So what is the solution to that then?
I mean, we've talked about it for years. And Tony will never do it, but you got to hire a writing team. You have to find a way to get people back invested in your show. I think we start there, but then go ahead.
I'm stopping you for a second. He has to hire a writing team. He brings in Jennifer Pepperman from WWE.
Yeah.
He has Will Washington, who supposedly helps with creative. I think Bryan Danielson at one point helps with creative. Yeah. He doesn't have a writing team from Hollywood, but he has a team of people that help him with creatively.
Yeah, for sure.
The solution is not having a fucking writing team, Billy.
Okay.
No.
Then what's the solution?
I'm so tired of this. Tony Khan doesn't need a writing team. Because this whole thing with the writing team, when they had fucking Jimmy Jacobs working in the company, Jimmy Jacobs was booking AEW literally like the same way that Jimmy Jacobs was like bringing in ideas to WWE, and the same thing he was doing to TNA. People do not fucking realize this, bro. People do not realize this. The solution isn't a writing team. The solution has never been a writing team. I hate the fact that IWC says this. You bring in a whole bunch of people to write TV shows. That's the problem. You have 20 different visions on air. 20 different visions. Tony Khan and the Elite formed AEW. There's not a talent that should have creative control. There's not another person that should be saying what the vision is, because everybody's perception is different. The reason AEW lost its touch, my brother, is because the Elite, Cody Rhodes, right, and Tony Khan all had an idea of what things should be. At that time, there was a couple flaws, but it's not as nearly as bad as it is today. Back then, Tony Khan, 6 months into AEW being a thing, Tony Khan said, nope, this is my vision. We're going to do it my way. He did not take creative input from other people. Tony Khan did that 6 months in. I remember covering this specifically. And when that happened, it was a very good thing for AEW, because you can tell that Tony Khan was being a boss and taking control of his product. So the IWC, all these years, when they see Tony Khan and AEW struggling, they're like, they need writers. No, they don't need writers. What Tony Khan needs is to figure out a way to get back to the vision that makes the most sense for the product. And right now it's a very distorted view. So because the vision is blurry, how you handle
the product's going to be blurry. The product's going to be blurry.
Yes, but how you handle talent relations and issues and stuff will also be an issue. I'm sorry, but guys, guess what? WWE has a writing team, right? And WWE brings in people from Hollywood, and they bring in Rob Fee, and they bring in all these people, and they do a really good job with it, right? And it works for WWE. But Triple H says, this is my vision. This is what I want to accomplish. And he is hands on deck. And with AEW, it's not like that. And they don't need to be that way. What Tony Khan needs to say is, this is my plan. This is how we're going to do it. This is 4 weeks of TV, 6 weeks of TV, already planned, already laid out. No changes unless there's injury. And they need to commit to it and see if it works. Hiring writers and people that came from WWE and bringing in, listen, I have nothing against Will Washington. I don't really fucking know the dude. I remember at one point he tweeted something out about doing a freestyle over the No Mercy instrumental. I did it. He didn't pay. I don't know, some bullshit like that. That's the only thing I remember of Will Washington. When they said he signed with AEW, I was thinking, oh, cool. Somebody from our community with our passion, somebody that represents us, is given a fair shot in professional wrestling. I don't know what his contribution is creatively to AEW anymore. I remember it was like he does kind of everything. Cool. I have nothing against that. I'm not taking shots at Will Washington. But if you're going to bring in a guy like Will Washington, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of other people and wrestlers and other people have like creative input, now you're getting to the point where you have too many different ideas coming to the table, and all of these different ideas, because you're trying to be the fucking nice guy that you are. Okay, this idea is pretty good. This idea is pretty good. This idea is pretty good. Let's go make it happen. Sometimes the bosses who don't micromanage, and I know this is going to give me heat, but the bosses who don't micromanage are the bosses that are the most weak, because a person who truly cares about their business will micromanage. And I think that's one of the things where, like, nobody fucking wants to be micromanaged, but I see how it is in AEW versus WWE. I think I could confidently say WWE for the longest time was a micromanaging company, from every word that you say in a promo to everything that's done in a match to everything. And it made sense. You have to find that fine line of what is too much micromanagement, what is not enough micromanagement. And Tony Khan, I can't tell you how Tony Khan is because I'm not backstage in Tony Khan's area. But what I could say is, for Tony Khan, in my perspective, I would say he's got too many hands in the kitchen, too many cooks in the kitchen, and he's not really managing them all. It's just everything's kind of being done the way it is. And then it's like, okay, cool, I have the final word. I think this sounds really good, without getting all of the details of that recipe. Like, hey, Tony Khan, we're making pizza today. And then Tony Khan's like, I love pizza, but they didn't tell you they put fucking anchovies in it. So no, Tony Khan approved it, but then he didn't realize people don't fucking like anchovies. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could see that.
Anything I'm saying wrong with that? Is there anything wrong? Chat.
No.
Is there anything I'm saying wrong?
Okay. Yeah, no, nothing that you're saying is wrong. It's not. But there has to be, I think, a level of, number one, if AEW isn't on, they're not going to die, right? We keep saying that. We keep saying, well, AEW is never really going to die. At some point, don't we think that AEW should be doing things to get better? And if so, aren't these just solutions that could potentially get them better? Or do you just genuinely think that there is nothing left? Like, he could try everything in the book. It's honestly until he figures this out, and him trying different things isn't going to be good enough. Is that correct?
I could tell you right now the solution is me. I'm being dead serious.
I know you are. I don't think you're lying.
Yep, I'm a fucking egomaniac, baby.
You think you're the guy?
100%.
Okay.
I think I would say I think this is going to be the funniest thing I've ever said on YouTube in my trillions of years doing this shit. But I'm dead serious. Like, I'm not bullshitting you at all. I know what it takes to run a business and make millions of dollars for a business. I have that experience. It's in my. I know. I guarantee that. But I also think from a perspective of, if I were to consult with Tony Khan and just have a serious conversation with Tony Khan, a genuine conversation one-on-one, I feel like I would be able to talk to Tony Khan and get AEW on track creatively.
Yeah,
a guy with no well, I can't say no wrestling experience, because I do have a little bit of wrestling writing experience. Some people don't know about. I can't talk about it, but I do have a little bit, and it turned out to be some really good stuff that a lot of people actually love. But what I will say is this. I feel like if I had that conversation with Tony Khan and I sat him down and I said, hey, this is the issue, and don't listen to the podcast, just listen to me speaking with you one-on-one. If I had a conversation with Tony Khan, I do feel like, to a certain extent, that I would be able to have that conversation and be able to tell Tony Khan, this is what I'm building around. This is how we're going to build it. And this is how we're going to do it in 8 weeks. Okay. And I guarantee you, this is what will be the outcome. Television would be better. Talent would be unhappy. I would not make talent happy. I already know this. I already know talent wouldn't be happy. I already know that. I know I would piss off some talent, because I would take a look at the roster and I would say, you don't fit this particular storyline. You are going to do something a little bit different in the meantime. And I think, and I'm being very clear. Like, this is what an egomaniac would say. But I genuinely believe that I would be able to turn around AEW. Now, if people are shocked by that statement, just understand I said the same thing about Vince McMahon. I would go into Vince McMahon's office and I would have a very serious conversation. And the truth is, I think what it really comes down to is talent not being used the way that they should be used. And listen. People could hate my fantasy booking all they want. Fantasy booking is fun. But when it comes down to putting pen to paper and actually drawing out a real storyline, I would reshift the focus. I'm going to pretend like nobody has actually been a star. And that's what it's going to take, is I'm going to think like a person who hasn't watched wrestling, because I don't know who they are.
Didn't Vince Russo do that a long time ago, though?
Vince Russo doesn't know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, but he tried stripping everything away and he tried like resetting. Is that really like the answer, though?
That's not what I would do, though. That's not what I would do. Okay. I would present people as if they haven't been perceived as a star. Okay. So if I was a person,
I see the difference. I see the difference.
I'm not stripping them. I'm going to present them differently. I'm going to present the product a little bit differently.
I see the difference there. I see the difference.
Like, honestly, I don't think, like, people got to realize writing promos and shit like that, they don't matter. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's literally the art of promos. It's not, the suffering succotash line Roman Reigns had. It's infamous on Twitter. But if you go back and watch it, it was Roman Reigns, the way he said it. I mean, the fucking promo was ass, and Vince McMahon was ass at writing these promos and having these things being written. But Roman Reigns also said it in a way where, like, you could tell he was uncomfortable saying it. He didn't have the confidence of saying it. So that was the problem with the promo. If Roman Reigns was aggressive and he was like if he was a different breed, like it would have been viewed differently. Again, promos. I don't need to write people's promos. People in AEW could do that shit themselves, but it's having the right idea. I wouldn't be doing invasion storylines, that's for sure. I wouldn't be doing cage matches, and I wouldn't be doing death matches. Christopher Daniels and Christopher Daniels and Hangman Page in a Texas death match on Collision. I wouldn't be booking that shit, because guess what? The type of storyline I would build for that kind of match will take weeks and weeks and weeks to get to that point where people are like, fuck, I need to see them. And by the way, let me just be very clear. Tony Khan's not a shitty booker. Tony Khan isn't a shitty booker, because he gave us Hangman Page and Swerve, which is arguably one of my favorite storylines of this year. It goes up there with the Cody and Roman stuff.
That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
It's not. But the problem is you have too many cooks in the kitchen. And the thing is, for a wrestling company, it shows. And listen, I feel like we're kind of going a little off track, but I wanted to mention this.
Yeah, I know.
This is what happens on the Angle Show. We're going to have great conversations. People are definitely not going to like the fact that I think I could go into AEW and change it. There's going to be a lot of people that say, what's your criteria? What's your portfolio? What's this? What's that? Trust me, there's a lot of stuff that people don't know. But what I will say is this. What I would do out of the first and foremost thing, and this is where my experience truly lies, work culture. I've been an amazing through real life experience. I know what it was to see. I know what it was to see how work culture changes everything. Work culture changes every single result, and it's no different in professional wrestling. You can tell when people were working for Vince McMahon, the product was dead and the crowd was dead. You want to know why? Because morale was dead. You could tell people weren't putting their heart and soul into that shit. But when Triple H comes in, you got Chelsea Green coming out talking about feeling safe and happy with Triple H. You can tell when you see a talent walk out on SmackDown or Raw that they're very thrilled to be there, and the morale is there and people are excited, and you feel that energy, and it's contagious. That energy was there in AEW for many, many years because people felt like it was there and people
morale
were excited.
Was high. I can agree with that.
And morale has been down. And the reality is there are some people that are okay with going to work and collecting a check, and good for them.
Of course.
Good for them. I'm happy for you. At the end of the day, that's your money, that's your family, that's your livelihood.
We've all done it.
For sure. But you could tell that this company, it's, again, perception is reality. Then you hear about these stories, Ray Phoenix, and you're like, wow, man, like, why not try to build this culture? Fuck it, bro. If I was a billionaire, why am I spending money for people to be in my company that don't want to be there? Why? And that's not just a wrestling company. That's any company, bro.
Right.
Why would I pay somebody to be in my company when they don't want to be there? Why? They're going to go to another company and be a big deal? Well, guess what? If I'm playing the long game, I'm going to get my company's momentum back. I'm going to be the destination. So that way, when John Cena says, hey, I retire, and then Tony Khan says, I'm going to offer him fucking $50 million to show up in AEW for one run. If I'm John Cena, I might be like, you know what? God dang it, I might take that.
Yeah, right.
You know, like,
not opposed to it.
I'm just saying. Regarding Ray Phoenix, though, it is a very sad situation because nobody knows what is happening there. I do feel like to a certain extent, it is very, 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 very just weird. So that leads us to our next topic. Because,
let's go,
guys. If this isn't to work, then my opinion on this is even stronger than what you've heard about AEW. Billy, Corey Graves says he's going to be talking. He says he's going to be on NXT. He gets pulled from NXT.
Yep, doesn't show up.
Doesn't show up in NXT. What's your thoughts?
If this is not a work, WWE, what have you done? Corey Graves is one of the best color commentators out there right now, and you can't change my mind. I praise WWE a lot of the times, I think, along with yourself. But we criticize when criticism is needed.
Yeah.
And if this is not a work, and now let me just start with if it's not a work, right? Then WWE, you dropped the ball, you messed up. Corey Graves is amazing, and the fact that this man is in any position that he feels that he needs to go out and tweet, there's a problem. Now, granted, I get it. You have the commentators on SmackDown, you have them on Friday night, and maybe this guy feels some type of way about that. I get it. But overall, he's one of those people that I would never, ever, 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 ever put into a position like this. Now, if it is a work, great job. Great job. If it is a work, cool. Count me in. Let's if there's a chance that Corey Graves could potentially come back in ring and he could potentially do some inside work, and maybe that's all along what they were working for. I remember rumors quite some time ago where a lot of people speculated that Corey Graves could potentially be making an in-ring return, and maybe they kept those really, close to the mouth and they kept them shut. If that is the case, great. I'd love to see Corey Graves back in a ring. I'd love to see what he could do. Corey Graves is one of those people who probably misses wrestling more than he misses anything else. So if you are working me and that's a potential thing and you almost do kind of what the AEW did with Nigel McGuinness and stuff like that, cool. Count me in. I'm not mad at it. Ango, what are your thoughts?
So I'm going to go and give you guys my opinion on the premise that this isn't a work. Really quick, Justin Kennington, I saw your super chat. I'll get to it once we start talking about NXT. But I'm gonna give you guys my opinion as if this isn't a work, because I do believe it is a work. But let's just say it's not a work, okay? Well, I just spoke about culture. Yes. And what I see with Corey Graves, if this isn't a work, this is my issue with big business. Corey Graves, not allowed to wrestle, goes into commentary, transitions into a brand new realm, excels at it, gets bounced around from place to place, goes and does these great things, goes and does all of these things that you would ask out of an employee. And then when it comes down to it, you say, Pat McAfee's more important. Joe Tessitore is more important. I've always had this hate relationship with businesses and companies who think, they want you to basically fucking kill yourself for their job and bleed sweat and tears for their company.
Do the whole nine.
Yep. And then you do that, and then they give your opportunities to somebody else because of their experience or because of where they come from, and that is applicable here. So my opinion is I absolutely hate it, because as much as I hate 3-man commentary teams, I don't like multi-man commentary teams. I've been on the record saying that before. I prefer 2 men. At that point, that's where I change for the aspect of keeping the culture good and the morale good and not pissing people off. That's where I decide, hey, you know what? I think we'll just keep Corey Graves on SmackDown with Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett. But that's because I have a personal issue with how things are done. It's not fair to people putting in fucking work year after year after year. And it's not worth putting that morale in jeopardy when ultimately Pat McAfee's going to go away anyways.
Yeah,
he's
college game day coming back up again.
He's not going to be there permanently. You know what I mean? So the thing is it really worth it? Is it really that much worth it? Or how about this? Pat McAfee's a great commentator, right? But Pat McAfee's a great interviewer. The thing about Pat McAfee that makes the Pat McAfee show so great is his interviews. Why not have Pat McAfee be like Jackie Redmond and interview stars, sideline reporter in the WWE?
Yeah.
Not everything has to be a backstage interview. Do the sideline reports in the WWE, and then you have Pat McAfee doing that, and he's a big part of it, There's ways around it. It's not really worth jeopardizing the culture and the morale. And I do think, of course, people are going to sit here and talk about name value, and I get that. But I can certainly tell you guys, I'm not watching Raw just because Pat McAfee or Corey Graves is on commentary.
Yeah, I'm watching Raw because I love it, and I love what they're doing on the show. It's not about who's on commentary. I agree.
Yeah. I hope it's a work, though.
Well, I was about to say, what's your premise, I guess, under the circumstance that it is a work?
Yeah, I talked about this on my channel. The thing with Corey Graves is I hope it's a work because There was a time when I used to watch NXT and he was there, and it's I liked when he wrestled on NXT, I liked him, and I really thought he was cool, and I really liked. It's been such a long time, but I really liked how he was as a wrestler, and so part of me would love to see him wrestle and actually be a character on TV, and I like the idea, if it's a work, great job, right? I said this in my video too. They should suspend him. They should announce a suspension. Literally,
because of the way he's been tweeting. Of the way he's been tweeting.
And the thing is, suspend him, and then don't put him on NXT. This is not a storyline for NXT. He no-showed NXT, right? That's what you do. You suspend him for no-showing NXT, and then Obviously, if this is a work, that's how you do it. And then
I want to say I see a lot of people in the chat talking about why couldn't they move Barrett, or why could, and I think Triple H is understanding of that, and that's like the reason why I think it's a work. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so what I would do is then have Corey Graves show up on Raw on Netflix, literally in the middle of a segment, like after a match, like right after a match ends while commentary's talking, Corey Graves just walks out on the ramp and in street clothes.
Yeah.
And just drops a fucking pipe bomb. And then I would use that as the selling point to bring up the match with McAfee. Pat McAfee should be wrestling at WrestleMania. If we're going to talk about how famous he is and how much value there is, why do I think it's a work? I don't know. I like the idea of thinking everything is a work. I used to think the CM Punk thing was a work. I wanted to believe everything was a work.
Yeah, because we wanted Kenny and Punk at All In. I remember.
Yeah, there's a million things that I want everything to be a work in wrestling. The Corey Graves situation is sad though, because like I said, if it is real, it's one of those things where I align with Corey Graves in that particular situation. From a personality trait to how I am as an individual, that is, talking, or not talking, but when you work for a big company and you see opportunities being given to other people, which by the way, I've seen that several times. I've seen that with my own eyes. And when you talk to the boss, they say, well, it's just best for business. So best for business doesn't always mean best for employees. And that's why I genuinely mean this when I say this. I have no loyalty to any company in this world. It will never happen. It will never happen.
Yeah.
It's not like AEW, WWE, TNA. Like there's no loyalty to any company, because guess what? At the end of the day, all these companies are going to do is what's best for their business. And business. Yeah,
at the end of the day, what do I have to gain, or what do you have to gain being loyal to somebody that we don't work for? We're not under no
even if I worked for them.
Like that. Right. What do I have to gain?
There's no. I think people need to understand, like, that's a big thing, bro. Loyalty only gets you so far, and if it's real with Corey Graves, I mean, that's a perfect example of it. They didn't need to make Corey Graves a commentator, and I always thought that was cool that they did give him that opportunity, but they don't need to. They never ever needed to. He excelled
really well at it. No, it wasn't like a necessity. They seen the guy and they seen what he had in him, and ultimately, look at what you got from it. The guy is a great commentator.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Really quick, I want to get to some stuff in the chat. We got one super chat earlier, guys. If you're not a member, you do lose priority on the chat readouts. If you guys drop a super chat, it guarantees that your questions and comments will be read. We are at 1 super chat out of 5 for our goal. So if you guys can help us hit our goal, we'll have some special shout outs to end the stream. Justin Kennington. Okay, I don't know what just happened. It's going slow. It's lagging. What is happening in my YouTube chat? Justin Kennington dropped $1.99. He says, Julia versus Masha, winner takes all, stand and deliver. I think this is the perfect time to talk about what is happening between NXT and TNA. So really quick, just let me refresh. Billy, can you talk for a second?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, cool. Just making sure we're still good. So let's get to that. Justin Kennington dropped a super chat. Julia versus Masha, winner takes all. Listen, let's talk about this NXT TNA stuff, because now Masha Slamovich was backstage at TNA yesterday. Not only backstage, but she appeared on television. And this is obviously generating a huge conversation. A lot of people are wondering, the thing that I want to say is this. It's picking up again. The TNA WWE partnership is picking up again. There is a lot of potential there. So here is what I've heard, and then we can kind of react to it. Basically, some of the plans that I've heard is that WWE and TNA will work with each other when it makes the most sense. TNA is going to be at the Curtis Caldwell Center for Genesis. There is rumors that WWE talent could be potentially there at Genesis. Obviously, the Royal Rumble is coming up, and therefore, with the Royal Rumble, the rumor is that Joe Hendry will be in the Royal Rumble. With Joe Hendry being in the Royal Rumble, obviously for WWE, it makes a lot of sense, because Obviously, Joe Hendry brings in the numbers for WWE.
Absolutely.
Then you got to wonder, what about Slammiversary? What about some of these other events? TNA is losing some talent. Jordan Grace could be going into WWE. So for as much as TNA could be helpful to WWE also has to be helpful for TNA. Tommy Dreamer is teasing some stuff with NXT and Genesis. Masha Slamovich. Justin, I like your super chat. The idea of Julia versus Masha would be amazing. Masha Slamovich is such a great talent who I don't think gets a lot of credit, but she is such a great talent. So I would love to see that happen. I don't like the idea of winner takes all because I don't want Julia to lose and I don't want Masha to lose. But I do think there is a circumstance in where we see some very heavy hitting matches between the two. And
yeah, for sure.
And let me just be really clear. With TNA and NXT, you know, this is one of those things that will always impress me. I have an issue right now with NXT. Okay? I have a very big issue with NXT. The main event scene is ass.
Yeah, we talked about this recently.
Right? It's not getting fixed. Shawn Michaels has the best women's division. Tag team division is fine. Fraxium, OTM, killing it. Like
that men's division.
I watch NXT though, and I see Obafemi, and I'm just like, okay, man, like, great. We have a new world champion. What's the follow up? Who are we building up? And like,
Tony D'Angelo and Eddie Thorpe.
Like, I need them to really stack up that men's division. It's going to take a little bit of time. Maybe they need some signings. I mean, who knows what that solution is, but Shawn Michaels has got to fix that, right? Because I really love NXT, but there's an area that is incredibly weak to me. That's the area. I love Ethan Page. He should be going to the main roster. Guys, TNA, perfect example. Put some TNA talent on NXT. Put some NXT talent on TNA. When Jordan Grace leaves TNA, they're going to need some help in that women's division. The first thing I would be doing is saying, hey, you know what? We're going to give you Carmen Petrovich. We're going to give you Roxanne Perez. We're going to give you Cora Jade. We're going to do all these things.
We're going to help you. We're going to help you.
Which, by the way, Cora Jade, I don't know. I'm getting the feeling that maybe we get Cora Jade showing up at Genesis, attacking Masha Slamovich. I don't know. But I'm getting some feeling that like they're going to be building some stuff, you know, and I think that's a really good thing for professional wrestling. And by the way, I want to make this clear. There's a couple dates in 2025 where TNA is going live. And when you go live, especially when they go live, like they're going to go live in Texas, but they're also going to go live at one point in Orlando, which I don't know when the exact date is confirmed, but when that happens, you do a live episode of TNA Impact, my boy, you better have a surprise. So obviously TNA and NXT are working together again. That's great.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
Not only is it nice to see, but it's good to see the fact that WWE is actually working with TNA more than just once, you know.
Which I have to give you credit, brother. You called this the other day when we talked about it. You said, bring in TNA talent. Let them help. Well, it looks like they're going to do that. And kind of, it looks like we both may have been right because I said I think they're going to follow up with that Eddie Thorpe storyline with Obafemi, but I think that eventually is going to lead into what you were saying with it potentially being somebody from TNA.
I mean, it's going to have to.
Yeah, it's going to have to be that right now. If you have somebody like Joe Hendry, you know, we've seen him fight for the NXT championship before. You can have him do it again.
What is your thoughts on Joe Hendry? Oh, so my belief or my prediction for TNA Genesis is that Joe Hendry actually wins the world championship at Genesis, but then Frankie Kazarian cashes in from the Call Your Shot gauntlet. So again, Joe Hendry keeps chasing.
Right.
If that comes true, what do you think of Joe Hendry being the one to go into NXT and then potentially winning the title in NXT?
Well, I think here's the thing. You could do that at Stand and Deliver, and I think it goes back to what we talked about the other day, right? It's not a horrible idea. Matter of fact, it's probably the best idea in the cards right now. Yeah, because essentially, I know a lot of people don't and aren't keeping up with TNA, and maybe only some people do. But when you think about it in hindsight, Joe Hendry is, when he wins the belt, what's it gonna feel like? Right? Let's think about that for a second. Everybody legitimately loves Joe Hendry. We understand that Obafemi like I said in a stream not too long ago, Obafemi's one of those guys that they're going to put a rocket ship to his back and, blast him to the moon. That guy will be on the main roster faster than you know it. But they need somebody to run that men's division, somebody who is a good sell for the company. And yes, he may not be a part of WWE right now, but you can best bet eventually he will be. And there is no better than Joe Hendry right now. That's just my thought. But go ahead. What are your thoughts?
It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
That men's division is weak.
Mm-hmm.
Not weak on paper. It's just weak in how it's booked.
Yeah.
I like Eddie Thorpe.
Eddie Thorpe's great.
I like Obafemi.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't know. It's like tough.
It is. It's very tough. It's very tough when all the other divisions around you are getting booked perfectly. And we look at the tag team division. We've seen that match with Fraxium and OTM and stuff like that. You think back on that, and you're like, man, that was a really good match. And then you think about the women's division and everything that they've done over there. Roxanne Perez and Julia just happened, and like how good that was. And then you think about just the Obafemi thing, and you're like, oh man, like how is this guy like Obafemi not being booked in the greatest form? Because he's huge, right? The dude's big. That's WWE style. You know what I'm saying? So It's like it's weird seeing. It's weird. It's weird that we're complaining about the world championship picture versus complaining about the tag team division or the women's division, whatever. We're actually complaining and criticizing the men's division right now.
Yeah. Call up Obafemi.
Like I said, they're gonna put a rocket ship to his back and send him to the main roster quicker than you know it. Just give Joe Hendry the belt. Let him be the guy.
No, I definitely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Voice is a little scratchy, but
it happens.
It's true though. It's true.
It is.
Big plans for TNA and NXT. Pay attention to TNA. Trust me, it's gonna be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But NXT's got some problems. They got to figure it out.
They do. They have some things that they need to figure out pretty bad. Oh, I actually got somebody actually made a really good idea over on my chat here. It said Aleister Black should come back to NXT. Ango, what are your thoughts on that potentially? Oh.
The floor is yours, my friend. I'm gonna grab some water.
No, you're okay. We've been all over the place, but guys, I am interested. I'll let the chat go off a little bit. What are your guys' thoughts on a potential Aleister Black return to NXT? Me personally, it's something that I am very, very much behind. It's something that I could actually see. I know we've talked about Aleister Black and him potentially coming into the WWE and what that could potentially look like and stuff. I genuinely think it's not the worst idea in the world. Yeah, Zach Pack, I agree. That would be awesome. I know that Aleister Black, when you look at the men's division and what it needs, I'm not saying it's the greatest idea, but I'm not saying it's the worst idea. He could reestablish himself there. I agree 1,000%. I think that's a place where he could shine. So Combat Sports Today over on my channel, thank you so much for that that comment there, because that makes a lot of sense. That would be good. Chester Franklin, the tag team and women's divisions are fine in NXT. The men's division need more talent. Evans is not ready. I agree, Chester. Evans is currently not ready. Javon Evans, I mean, he's young. You know what I mean? You got to give that guy a little bit of time. Noah Green said with Buddy Murphy, yeah, I wish. That would be great, wouldn't it? Big Boss says, send Santo Escobar to NXT because Triple H failed him. I would sadly disagree. I don't think that he has fully failed Santos Escobar just yet, but I do actually like the idea of him potentially going back to NXT. Black, Josh Alexander, Matt Cardona, if coming to WWE, should go to NXT. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all. Hold on one second. We got a super chat over here. This is from Luke Newman. It says, get TJP, Mike Bailey, Gabe Kidd to help the men's. TJP, if you guys remember, was actually in WWE I want to say it was like the 2016, 2017 era. He was in WWE quite some time ago, and he was in the cruiserweight division and stuff like that. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Mike Bailey and Gabe Kidd both are great talents, so yeah, I could see that and them potentially helping. It says El Hilo, Dr. Wagner Jr. teasing going to WWE. He's a free agent. Yeah, I mean, we could see that. We could see that happening. All right. I think NXT this upcoming draft are gonna lose a lot of talent, especially in the women's division, since they need more talent for the mid card and tag titles. Big MGM, that is a big fact. That is a big fact. I 100% believe that we are going to see a lot of call-ups, or not even so much call-ups, because one thing to remember is that WWE is potentially looking at NXT as a third brand. So I think you're going to see, as much as you're going to see that, you're going to see people move to NXT as well. Yeah, 205 Live Bonkers. Thank you so much for that.
I'm back.
Oh, dude, welcome back. I was hanging out with the chat.
I saw, man.
Yeah, we're hanging out.
Dude, my eyes are watery.
Yeah, you all right over there, dude?
I don't know what the hell is wrong. It just like hit me.
But yeah, we were talking about Aleister Black potentially coming back to the WWE and him joining NXT.
I want to chime in on that in a second. We did get a couple super chats.
Yeah, I got one on my channel too, so go ahead and do your thing.
Okay, I'll read these two and then go ahead and read yours. Tolino channel dropped 40. I don't know what that is. Javon reminds me of Underdog Sammy from NXT 2014. I see some parallels there. I agree to a certain extent. Javon Evans is sick. He's not ready to be a world champion just yet, but eventually, yes.
That is something that we just talked about for sure.
Yeah. Luke Newman dropped $1.99. He says, get TJP, Mike Bailey, Gabe Kidd to help the men's.
Yep, we talked about this as well. Absolutely. I think they would be great helps. I explained how TJP was once in WWE. He was a part of 205 Live, right? I feel like
TJP was.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He was the first Cruiserweight champion. He won the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yep, that's what I
thought. TJP probably will be in New Japan, though. I don't foresee Gabe Kidd coming in. But yeah, they gotta change some things up. They gotta bring in some signings for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you guys for those super chats. Billy, you said you got one?
Yeah, I got one from Denisha Lane. She says, Ango, you keep it real, buddy, and keep being yourself. So that was a big shot to you, man. Big shout out to you.
Thanks, Denisha. I appreciate that. Luke Newman just dropped another $1.99. He says, also get Josh Alexander to help NXT men main event. Bruh.
We've been talking about that. We've been talking about that.
Josh Alexander, bro.
He's the guy. He's the guy. If you need help, that's the guy.
I love Josh. Like I love him. I love him. He's like fantastic worker, great promo. He's sick, bro. I don't think he ever gets as much credit as he deserves, but
no, he does not.
I would almost rather see him on the main roster. Like I'd prefer to see him on the main roster, but again, like it's hard to say that because NXT is just they're really struggling there, struggling. You know, it's just it's tough. Like it's just Shawn Michaels has this issue that I don't know.
It's a weird issue, but he's got it.
Yeah, it's like the women's division is the best, and then their main event scene is just very lackluster. And I'm sorry, bro. Like, hey, like I'm just trying to be real honest here. Like, Ridge Holland ain't really doing it for me. Tony D'Angelo, I love the guy, but like,
he's not doing it for me right now.
Yeah, like right now, it just feels like a little too much. And you know, maybe this is where Penta being in NXT first could have been really cool, but obviously that's tough, and
that's not the case.
Yeah, so it's a very, very tough spot. And then Aleister Black coming back, right? Like, could he go to NXT and be there? But it's just like beneath him at that point. Like he doesn't. They got to focus on the future and getting better at developing the main event scene for the men. And if I had my way, Ethan Page would be champion right now. Obafemi does not need to be the world champion.
Nope, he does not.
It is what it is. What can you do?
Right. Whatever.
Guys, we're one super chat away from hitting the goal. Shout out to Luke Newman for those two super chats and Tolino channel as well. And Denisha Lane dropping a super chat on Billy's channel. Let's talk about Aleister Black coming back to WWE. I think we should very much talk about Aleister Black because there's been a lot of conversation about him leaving AEW and not being booked on AEW. And, this is one of those things. I've said this before. I know a lot of people are not going to be happy here when I say this, but I've always said since day one, I don't feel like Malachi Black was truly booked the way he should have been booked in AEW. Just like how I don't believe he was booked correctly on the main roster. Nope. This is not a uncommon thing for me to say, but Aleister Black in NXT is by far one of my favorites. Just genuinely speaking, it was one of my, I don't know how to explain it. He had such a great run in NXT where it was just
he was one of the best.
Yeah. So me personally, it's just me. It's a me thing.
And I believe if he went back to NXT, I believe Shawn Michaels would do very right by Aleister Black.
No, it's beneath him. He doesn't go to NXT.
Okay, there's your thoughts.
No,
there's your thoughts.
He's gonna go to Raw.
Okay,
or wherever Zelina Vega is.
Right.
And that's kind of how I look at it. He's got to go to Raw. Zelina Vega's there. I think. If I'm giving you guys my honest opinion, I think Aleister Black, and I've said this before, he should be in the world title picture.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day. I agree. Yeah. I agree that he should be in the picture. Don't think he should win it right away, but I do think he should be in the picture.
I want to say something, though, about the whole Aleister Black situation.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love Aleister Black. I love what he does. I love his talent. WWE has only one opportunity to get him right if he returns. They cannot mess up here because Aleister Black, in a way, it kind of reminds me of Karrion Kross. Now, let me explain this in a way that makes sense. Karrion Kross goes from NXT, dominant NXT, goes to the main roster, and Vince changes everything about him. Okay.
Yeah.
That was pretty dramatic and pretty excessive, the changes that they made to Aleister Black. When I see Aleister Black coming back to WWE, it kind of reminds me of Karrion Kross coming back to WWE in the sense that they have to they really have to rehabilitate him in a way.
Yeah, you have to get it right on the first try. He's been through way too much.
I think presentation-wise, they will knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
I think from an in-ring perspective, he will go out there and knock it out of the park. But the storyline that they bring him into will matter the most.
Yeah, and it has to be the correct storyline. It has to be. I don't know. I guess it's all going to depend on who he comes up against, and if we're thinking about his dark character and stuff, I could see him coming in almost as a heel and doing something with the Wyatt Six.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. That's fair.
Wyatt Six can't be losing. Aleister Black can't be losing.
I'm not talking. This is right now. I'm talking. Months down the line.
But I'm saying immediately upon re-debuting for the company, they can't get this wrong.
Okay.
That first opponent, that first storyline, it has to be perfect.
Oh, that's right. They are on SmackDown. Thank you.
There is no reason why Aleister Black should be going into the WWE again and losing right away. And if you want to do a slow burn with him, you can do that, but you got to be very, very careful. I almost feel like instead of having him feud with somebody right away, what I would rather do, and this is just my opinion, I would much rather see WWE have him vignettes, right?
Yeah.
And Aleister Black goes in there, has a couple squash matches for a few weeks.
And just makes himself look dominant again?
Yeah. And then makes a challenge.
There we go. That's fair. I like that. I can get behind that. I'm not opposed to that.
That's what I think.
Not at all.
That's what I think.
I'm not opposed to that at all.
I seen somebody in the chat say it should be Shin. If you wanted Aleister Black to feud with Shinsuke, that would require him to go to SmackDown. Yep. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that at all. They really have to get it right though. That's not an exaggeration. He did not look good in AEW. I felt
He
like
didn't
he
look
was
good on the
very
main roster beforehand.
it was very underwhelming on the main roster beforehand, very underwhelming right now with what you see in AEW.
Agreed.
The House of Black ideal was cool, but I don't feel like they were ever really given the ball to run with. And I
Nope.
think AEW kind of spit in his face because now he's not being utilized until his contract ends. And all of a sudden, people are big believers in Brody King and Buddy Murphy, as if Malachi Black wasn't the fucking
wasn't the guy.
star. Malachi
Right.
Black was the big signing where he should have been a world champion at one point. And I couldn't believe, honestly, I couldn't believe that he wasn't a world champion in AEW. And like, I'll just say it. Like, if he's not a world champion in WWE, they failed him, because Aleister Black in NXT was a beast, and Vince McMahon
As a
fucking killed
champion.
it.
Yeah.
Vince killed him, bro.
Yeah, he destroyed him. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Like, I almost kind of wonder what it would be like if they did something with Aleister Black and Damian Priest. I kind of would like to see something like that, because Damian Priest needs to get away from the Judgment Day stuff.
For sure.
You know? I think that would be kind of fun. Damian Priest is like, when he goes into his own, like, I
mean,
think,
you've seen what he just did with Finn Balor.
but
That
once
shit
he
was great.
breaks away from the Judgment Day stigma, like somebody, I saw somebody tweet, it's not an original opinion, but somebody was like, this should be Damian Priest, like, kind of transitioning into what Biker Taker was, where he just ultimately becomes like that cool ass baby face.
Which I think is eventually probably what could happen.
Yeah. But of course, he would need a really, really good opponent. Aleister Black could be really good. And if Aleister Black were to beat Damian Priest, like, that's a pretty big stamp of approval. And then, you know, Aleister Black versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, dog, count me the hell in. I've been saying this for a minute, but that's why I say it's so important that they get it right, because Malachi Black leaving AEW, it's like, again, this was people. I think people forget the narrative, but when Malachi Black when he left WWE and went to AEW, the conversation was literally, "Oh my God, AEW they're gonna do what Vince McMahon and WWE couldn't do, which was make him a star." And then the thing is, he goes into AEW and he's not. And this was the conversation. I know AEW fans tend to forget this because they want to forget this. They don't ever want to make it look like AEW did something bad, which is this is where I laugh the most in the IWC, like. They left WWE. They're washing WWE. AEW is going to save them. AEW is going to make them this. When you come to find out AEW just doesn't do anything with them, then all of a sudden they're not good. They're washed. They have an attitude problem. They don't want to be there, blah, blah, blah. There's a million excuses. Let me just be real honest. Like, I think, like, Aleister Black, he did not. He should have been winning big time matches in AEW.
Sure.
And that's what I'm saying. He's got to win big time matches. He's got to win big time matches in WWE too. So WWE can't mess around and be like, "Oh, we got to protect Damian Priest."
When he came into AEW with the Cody thing, that was like cool at the time, you know what I mean? And then just right after that, it just completely fell down the hill, and it just did not go the way that it was supposed to. So yeah, I do agree with you 1000% that when he comes back and when he comes into a new role potentially in the WWE, it has to be in a serious role. It has to be something right away. There's no denying that. So yeah, I'll agree with you there.
Like I'm saying right now, and I'm going to say it again and again and again, he's going to need prominent wins.
A lot of them.
Seth Rollins probably should lose to Aleister Black. Like, there's going to be some people not happy taking those pins, but Aleister Black should be getting some pins over some big names eventually. At first, give him some squash matches, insert him immediately into a feud. Personally, I like him as a heel. Get it right. Don't fuck it up. If you fuck it up, then you're in a situation where literally, like, you're just like, you're screwing up.
It's a horrible situation.
Yeah, you're screwing up. You're screwing up for
yourself
sure.
in a horrible situation.
And it sucks. It sucks that it's like that, because there's just certain talent, I think, they get screwed over, man, and he's one of them. And
sure.
Maybe I am biased towards Aleister Black, but I remember watching NXT, loving him, and I seen what we got in AEW, and I seen what we got with him on the main roster, and excuse me, I was not happy with it at all.
No,
at all.
I agree.
We did get our 5th super chat. Let's see. So we hit our super chat goal. Joseph Martin says goal. Let me see. I don't know. A quantity of liquid drunk at once without stopping. I just Googled that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm not drunk by any means. I'm literally drinking water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
drinking water because I kept coughing.
Right.
Couldn't stop coughing. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, now I can.
I guess I do. I guess I look pretty badass with the red Solo cup in my hand.
You do. You look cool, man.
Ah, great. Main takeaways from NXT last night. Women, great. Shotzi beating Stephanie Vaquer, logical.
Yep.
Tag team division is good.
Yep.
Men's main event scene is really struggling.
For sure.
Ethan Page is a G.
That segment, yes. That backstage segment killed me.
I think what I'm really getting at is when it comes to NXT, it's still a good show, but there's something missing. They need to improve, and we've talked a lot about that today. I think Shawn Michaels is struggling to a certain extent, and
yep,
it sucks that it's like that, and I hope that changes, and I hope that gets better.
But it is what it is.
It's
what
tough.
Can you do? Right.
It's tough because I get so excited about the TNA NXT thing. I'm not excited about that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Shawn Michaels really needs to fix that.
Yeah.
I'm tired of complaining about it.
Yeah, just fix it. It is one of those things where you could just fix. You got to know how to get it right. And Shawn Michaels, let's be real here, he knows how to get it right.
I don't remember the last time they really had a hard time building up the main event scene, though.
No, because everything was flowing so fluently. And then just suddenly it stopped. Just out of nowhere.
Huh.
Very, very weird.
Interesting.
Very. Very, very interesting.
What else, Billy?
I mean, me personally, I don't got much to talk about. I know we seen Bailey on NXT.
Oh,
her and Roxanne Perez.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Roxanne's going up to the main roster
for sure, hands down.
She's got to cost Bailey her match against Tiffany Stratton.
Yup.
Yeah, that's going to be some good stuff.
Yeah, I think they just showed us that might be the case. Count me in.
I didn't like the ending, the way it cut out.
The feed cut.
The CW.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of been the story with the CW. I mean, it happened last week too with The Rock. I know it happened on my end at least. I'm not sure if it happened on anybody else's end.
Yeah.
But yeah, the CW's got some things to work on.
It was weird because it also had an issue with with Netflix as well. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
that was weird. That was strange.
Very.
I don't know what it is about the women's division, but they just figure it out all the time. Even like DIY was on NXT, and I like that. Like, I like the crossover.
Because I think that'll actually probably be a match that you see either on WrestleMania or Stand and Deliver.
Why aren't they doing that with the men's main event division?
That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't know. I genuinely don't. Because something is missing there, and that's just what it is right now. It's something is missing. Something is missing in that division. I mean, they're looking to TNA to hopefully try and fix that. And that's kind of not the greatest look of all time. You know what I mean?
Why?
Why is it not the greatest look? Well, you have your own men's division. Why aren't we building them? We talked about this.
No. But partnerships are good.
Partnerships are good. I'm not saying partnerships are bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that why are we looking to TNA to try and fix our division? Because what if those guys don't stay around? Then what?
Well, no, they're not going to stay around, but you do a partnership.
Okay. I mean, I hear you. I just think that you don't necessarily have to. You have your own division. You should be building that division up. You bring in the partnership when it's warranted. And I mean, going into your WrestleMania season, is that the time to really be putting, I mean, from a business standpoint, at least, is that the best time to be putting or not new faces, but you're putting people that like nobody's really heard of, or, because let's be real here. Yes, Joe Hendry is an exception. I want to make that clear. Joe Hendry is an exception. But people that maybe some people haven't heard of, is this the time to necessarily put them in front of this audience?
I think anything is a solution at this point. That's how bad it's gotten.
Okay, fair. Opposed to it.
Can I be real with you? I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think it's downright bad. Like, it's not good. It's definitely not good. It's not good, and I don't know how they're gonna fix it.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. What else do we got, Ango? Anything else?
Dre Malcolm just asked in the chat. He says, Ango and Billy, are you going live tomorrow for Dynamite? Because I'd be so excited. I just can't hide it.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm not just excited.
Dude, I'm fucking crying out of excitement for Kenny Omega and Brian Cage. Like, I just can't fucking wait, dude. It's like
I'm pumped.
It's just like, Brian so there's Cage so much heat behind this dream match, dude. I'm fucking foaming out of the mouth for it. I just can't believe it. It's like, I'm so excited for Brian Cage and Kenny Omega. It's just like, what else? Dude, I have nothing else better to do than just to watch that, No, listen, here's the truth is, I'm not watching AEW live anymore.
No, I don't really have any means to.
Thankfully, with HBO Max streaming service, I can watch it
later and watch it.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like
we'll through it if need be.
We'll see. I don't know. It's hard for me to say for sure, but it's I wish I could sit here. Listen, until I see that show really getting interesting again, and like changes being made, not even interesting, but once changes are made and I feel like it caters to me a little bit more, maybe I'll start reviewing it again, but I just don't foresee that happening.
It's not the case.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. And when people say, hey, you don't like AEW, I'm telling you guys I
don't watch it.
Yeah, they tell me don't watch it, I'm telling you guys I won't. So okay. I'll watch it when I get to it. I don't know. Crazy, right?
Very.
I have a question for everybody. If you guys could do me a solid, I'm gonna throw this link in the description. I need you guys to subscribe to that channel. I'm gonna be doing some gaming content on that. I was battling between Twitch and Kick and all that stuff. I'm gonna be live on that channel. I'm gonna figure out a schedule for that too, because I've been playing hella FIFA lately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, might as well go live type shit.
Good news. I'm already subscribed.
Billy's such a good guy. If you guys aren't subscribed to that, go ahead. It's almost at 1,000 subscribers. More Ango actually is like 30 subs away. 30 subs away from 10,000.
Ango, that's crazy because that's my goal this year.
Oh, guys, if you're not subscribing to Billy, then what the fuck are you doing?
The goal is 10,000.
But listen, I'm gonna tell you guys what I tell Billy too. He's gotta stay consistent, not videos every few weeks.
Oh yeah, we've been on a consistent roll recently though.
Yeah,
and we're mobile too, so even while we're working.
Yeah, Billy's gonna have like a little alternative setup tomorrow.
Yes,
but we will be live.
Yep,
and it'll be really cool. There's no more super chats that have come in, but we did hit 5 super chats, which was the goal. So shout out to everybody. Special shout outs to Joseph Martin, Luke Newman, Tolino Channel, Justin Kennington, as well as Denisha Lane for dropping super chats. Shout out to everybody who has joined us today. Some highlights will be posted on More Ango for those who missed this live. Shout out to everybody who watched, and we'll be back tomorrow. Billy TKO, Ango. This is the Ango Show Live. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.